Here I'm working on some of the hard places on Prairie's neck. I don't know if they're muscle knots or if there's some other kind of structure in his neck, but I'm going to continue to work on them. I have kind of weak hands, and this is probably not as powerful as you would like for me to do, but I'm going to keep working at it and see what I can get done on him. He doesn't seem to be softening up. He's a little confused about what I want him to do, so he's just being a good sport and standing there. And after trying to bite me a little bit here, he finally gives up and walks away. This lesson is going to be all about stop and go. So right here I've just stopped him, and I'm going to ask him to soften up just a little bit before we go, and he's kind of walking away. So I'm asking a little bit more with the inside rein. So he gets real soft there. And the cue I want to start using for stop is just lifting the outside rein. There I lifted both of them again. But I want the cue to be the outside rein, and I want him to soften up before we go. So that's what you're going to see a lot of in this lesson. Outside rein, he stops. Good boy. We're waiting a little bit. Inside rein to soften him up. Yep, there he goes. And there he's just walking through like crazy, so I gave him the just plain stop rein. And he stopped there. Now I'm going to ask him to soften up, which he doesn't really soften that much, but we go anyway. A little bit of turn in here. And here's another stop with the outside rein. Pause. Wait. And then I raise my inside hand to soften him up just a little bit. I should also add that in addition to the outside rein, I'm also saying ho, and he is really tuned in to that voice command. He stops better off my voice with nothing else at all than just using the rein aid without the voice. So here, I'm going to try to stop using the voice command and just ask him to stop off the outside rein. So here I'm just lifting the outside rein, and he's walking through. He's not sure because he hasn't heard me say anything. There. So he stopped. And the reason is because I muted all my clips because my cameraman was making comments, and I just decided to take it out. And here I raise my hands. I'm going to ask him to stop again. Every time he stops, he starts looking out of the arena like he'd rather be someplace else. Okay, I asked him to soften there, and he just started walking, which wasn't what I wanted. So I stopped him and asked him again to soften, and he does a little bit. And here's another stop. He's starting to get the hang of it here. And a little soften, not much. I just need to refine it now and not have such big movements, I think. I'm pretty obvious, but I'm trying to make it clear to him what I want him to do. Here's Samba. The exercise is to do a few steps of move out, stop, and a couple steps of turn in and stop. And it is truly amazing how she has learned to stop just in the past couple days. Before that, I never noticed it, but she would never stop. She just kept moving her feet, and I let her get away with it. But now I'm paying a little more attention, and you can see she doesn't have a problem with it at all. So after we've practiced moving out and turning in and stopping for several minutes, I just decided to walk around with her, ride her from the ground, and practice stopping. And she stopped pretty well. Now here she's about to take off again. Yep, I have not asked her to go. And that was her MO before. She would just start walking. There she didn't move, so I rewarded her, and she just took off again. So I had to stop her, and now it's like Twister. She's stuck in place. Once again, my aid for stop is just lifting the outside rein. And I must say, Samba is really tuned in to the voice command. She really doesn't notice the rein aid. So at some point, I'm going to have to switch from that. And here she's doing some move out in the circle. And on this side, I have to give her turn in because she tends to slingshot around toward the other end of the arena. And I ask her to stop, and she does. I'm trying to keep her going on the circle here, giving her move out and turn in as necessary to try to make a round circle. And I want her to stop promptly when I ask her, and she does. She's pretty keenly aware of that voice command.
Good girl.
As far as contact goes, you said I needed to ride prairie with a contact that feels like hugging a puppy. And if he is like hugging a puppy, Samba is like holding baby birds. She doesn't want very much contact at all. I'm barely touching her. But she seems pretty happy with that. Yesterday when I was riding Samba, I could not get her to stand still at all. I would make her stop, and she'd stay in one place about 1 second, maybe two, and then she'd kind of roll forward and start walking again, and I'd have to stop her, and she'd stop for a second or two. So here I'm just testing her. I want to see how long she's going to let me just sit there and do nothing. And she's not offering to move. She can feel me picking up the reins. And she knows she's not supposed to walk till I tell her to. So that's all good stuff.
Good girl.
Now, just as soon as I get done bragging on her, there she goes. She started to take off. when I wanted her to just stand in place. So I had to correct her. But she's okay with that. I really like the way she's carrying her head most of the time.